everybody. Welcome to the next episode, New Earth TV Live. Good to see everybody here today. And I was looking at the recording last week, and there was kind of a buzziness, a fuzziness with the microphone, which is a little bit weird because everything's all clear on my end, so it must have been a YouTube issue. So I apologize for that for last week. Hopefully this week you guys are able to hear me okay, and there's none of that buzziness or fuzziness at all. But anyways, thank you very much for being here. For the next episode, we're going to again do some group healing today, and then we're going to get into some Q&A. This is going to be kind of more time related to Q&A today. So if you guys do have some questions for myself or for Adronis, then feel free to place your questions on the chat. And of course, as always, when we start off with the New Earth TV Live, we start off with some announcements. So let's get into it. Beautiful, sacred geometrical clothing, apparel, and accessories imbued with spirit source energy to heal, rejuvenate, detoxify, and strengthen the body. Shop now at healingcodeshop.com.
The latest revelation in alternative healing has arrived. The Healing Code Cards, a spiritual technology unlike anything else. Through the power of sacred geometry imbued with pure source energy, physical ailments can become eliminated and detoxified from your body. 36 cards specifically designed to work on the major areas of the body, encouraging natural recovery and increased vitality. Working with the cards are easy, and their healing results are profound. Download our collection of free sample cards so you can experience results for yourself. And don't forget to view our customer testimonials. Our printed Healing Code card deck is available now with shipping available worldwide. Visit our website at healingcodecards.com.
Okay, and of course, starting tomorrow, you guys will be able to register for the next webinar. This is the Adronis Q&A forum. Okay, so this is just basically an open Q&A with Adronis, where he'll be taking your questions. They can be personally related, they can be general related. There are no questions off topic. Okay, it's not like New Earth TV Live where there are some restrictions where we don't really do private questions here. But through the Adronis Q&A forum, you certainly can. So again, this is going to be happening on Sunday, June 6, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Okay, it's $3.99 for registration, and you can register on Zoom tomorrow. Okay, this is going to be opened up tomorrow. I didn't get around to doing it today because I just got a big handful of work I'm trying to complete and get done today. But tomorrow, this registration link will be up. I'll be sending a registration reminder through the post on YouTube tomorrow, as well as on Facebook. So go ahead and sign up for this tomorrow. It's going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to a Q&A forum with Adronis. And again, this is going to be bi-weekly. Okay, so there will be another one. The first one is, of course, on June 6th. And the next one will be on June 20th. Okay, so June 6th and June 20th. Adronis Q&A forum, and then after two of these, then there will be a third presentation coming 2 weeks after that, and that will be Adronis Off-World Liaisons. Okay, so that's you being able to connect with an off-world liaison. That'll be a little over 6 weeks from now, but it's going to be an amazing webinar as well too. But once we get closer to that time, then I'll be announcing that as well too. But again, check out Adronis Q&A forum. It'll be available tomorrow to register. Okay, and of course, Akashic Record Sessions are available, Akashic Readings and Akashic Healings. I'm also still doing my private sessions, right? Some people have asked me, Brad, are you still doing one-to-one private sessions? Yes, I am. 15-minute, 30-minute, 45-minute sessions are still available. Okay, and Akashic Record Sessions are available, Akashic Readings and Akashic Healing. So again, you can check that out at newearthteachings.com. Okay, and another big thing is this Sunday, I'm going to be launching the first New Earth newsletter. Okay, the New Earth newsletter is going to contain some articles by me, where I'm going to be doing some insights on current events. I'm going to be sharing some updates, some practices, some methods as well too. So there's going to be a lot of information, and this is going to be happening every single week. So every Sunday will be the launching of the New Earth newsletter with a lot of great information in it. I'm doing it this way too because I really want to kind of spice up the newsletter a lot, and basically when I'm working with a newsletter, there's no censorship as well too, right? Like we know with common social media. But working with a newsletter, there's no censorship, so there's going to be a lot of revealing information that's going to come through these newsletters. All right, so the first one is this Sunday. Brad, how do I sign up for it? go to newearthteachings.com. On the home page, you scroll down a little bit, you'll see a box there, right, to put your name and your email and subscribe to it. And the first one is coming this Sunday, so I'm looking forward to that, sharing some really great information with you guys as well too. Leo says, I couldn't find on your website where to sign up for the newsletter. So if you guys, again, if you're on your phones or if you're on your computer right now, go to newearthteachings.com, okay? Scroll down. And just below where it says, newest service, Akashic Record Sessions, look into other lifetime perspectives, etc. Right at the bottom here, you see sign up for the New Earth newsletter and free intro courses. Okay, so you see some text there. Then on the right, you'll see the New Earth Teachings newsletter and free courses sign up box. Okay, so you see a name and you see an email. So put your name and an email. You click the big black submit button. Okay, and when you do that, you're automatically signed up for the newsletter. Okay, already got over 5,000 people right now subscribed to the newsletter. So believe me, it works. So again, just a reminder to check that out. Again, you can find it right on the home page. All right, so don't be afraid, it's there. Just see the big sign up box and you can sign up for it. Okay. All right, guys. So thank you again for being here today. We're going to have an exciting episode today. Once again, we're going to start off with some chakra clearing. Okay. And then we're going to get into some group healing as well too. Again, some questions are already coming in. So thank you for that. If you guys do have priority questions, then you can leave a contribution and that will be the very first question that I respond to. So contribution questions get first priority. And I thank you to the contributors as well too who do that. Now let's get ourselves into a nice, relaxed, comfortable posture, making sure the body is free of any tension. And like I said, we're going to start off with some chakra clearing. All right. So you can place your hands upon the center of your chest or place them on your lap, whatever you prefer. We'll go ahead now and close our eyes. Taking a deep breath in, deep breath out. And once again, deep breath in, deep breath out. And one more time, deep breath in, deep breath out. And just relaxing yourselves now, breathing normally. And like I said, we're going to do just as we've done before, relating to connecting with the chakra centers through the glands and the cells of the body. Okay, so firstly, we're going to be working with the root chakra, and the root chakra is connected to the gonads, connected to the genitals. Okay, so basically the testes, the ovaries. So that will be our focus, but if you don't want to focus there, that's okay. Just see the color of medium tone red in your mind, because that medium tone red is connected directly to the gonads. Okay. So see that medium tone of red, kind of like an apple red within your mind. And with your eyes closed, we're going to do an Om chant. But again, with the Om chant, what we're mainly focusing on is the sound. Okay, it's not so much the right? It's more of the sound, because that's the vibratory sound. That's where you really feel it. And what you're doing is you're taking that sound and you're putting it into that color of red, and you're putting it into the gonads, all right? And you're actually vibrating that. And that's vibrating it clean. All right. So let's do that together now. Taking a deep breath in to do an Om chant. It's very powerful. Feels really good. All right. You feel that right in the testes, right in the ovaries. Okay. That's great. So now we're going to move on to the sacral chakra, okay, which is connected to the Leydig and Hylar cells. Okay, those are cells contained within the tissue of the testes and ovaries. Okay, Leydig for males, Hylar for females. Okay, so let's see the color orange within our mind now. All right, and again aligning to the reproductive system with that orange color. Taking a deep breath in. Okay. Moving on next into the solar plexus chakra, colored yellow, nice medium yellow tone. and that is connected directly to the adrenal glands, okay, just above the kidneys. Okay, so connecting with the yellow color and the adrenal glands, and Om chanting into that now. Okay, inhale, exhale. Okay, moving on now to the heart chakra. Colored green, like grass, the grass-colored green. Again, we are connecting to the thymus gland, okay? Not so much the actual heart organ, but connecting to the thymus, all right? And seeing that grass green color, inhale. Okay, inhale, exhale. Moving on next to the throat chakra, connected to the thyroid gland, and seeing that kind of ice blue or sky blue color within your mind. Inhale. Okay, inhale, exhale. Moving on now to the third eye chakra, which is connected to the pineal gland. All right. And again, we're seeing the color ocean blue, or you can even see indigo if you wish, whatever you prefer. Either ocean blue or indigo ray. Inhale. Okay, inhale, exhale. And finally, connecting to the crown chakra, connected to the pituitary gland, and we're seeing the color violet within our mind. Inhale. Okay, inhale, exhale. And just take a moment just to kind of feel out the chakra centers within your body. Okay, we're just connecting to the spine and the aligned glands together with the chakra centers. And you may feel kind of, again, a strong buzzing sensation. You may feel a lot lighter. You may feel a lightness coming through, a tingling sensation. All of these are, again, signs that you've done a very, very good job in basically stimulating the nervous system, stimulating the spine, stimulating the glands, and stimulating the chakra centers. Okay, so when you get that really kind of nice, pleasant buzzing feeling, a bit of that resonant feeling within yourself, that's a good sign. You did some great work on clearing the chakras. Okay, that's all you got to do. Things just as simple as that. Work with the colors, work with the glands and the cells associated together with it, work with the spine, and then you get that really good feeling afterwards. Okay? Lightheadedness is all part of cleansing. All right, so when you feel lightheaded, it's like, oh my God, Brad, I feel like really, really high. I felt like I smoked like 1,000 joints. Great, sounds good. That just means you've done a great job bringing yourself into that natural heightening. All right, excellent. Okay, second thing we're going to do now is group healing. So this is where we're going to work with the black ball, white ball, transmutation addition. Okay, so it's a transmutation effect with the black ball and white ball, as I've demonstrated a couple of weeks back. All right, so to do this, placing your hands upon the center of your chest and seeing a black ball in the center of the chest, a hollow black ball. And now we're just going to imagine a green beam of light. It's just coming down at the top of our head and just slowly scanning our body. And we're just feeling out any, well, the visual would be looking at any black liquid dense energy that we feel in any pockets, in any areas of the body. Okay, and if we see those particular areas there, we're just keeping track of them. We're committing it to memory as we're bringing that scan or beam going all the way down to the bottom of the feet. Okay, and just being aware, right? Maybe if you have a headache, then you're going to see some black liquid dense energy there. If you have a stiff back, right, you're going to see some black liquid dense energy there. If you're feeling emotional, okay, you basically want to kind of detect where that emotion lies within the body. It can be in the heart, can be in the stomach, can be in the knees, etc. We're just looking for those pockets to where the black liquid dense energy is. Okay? Once you discover that, then what you're going to do is with your hands upon the center of your chest, the black ball, using the black root and connecting directly to those areas, either area or areas, where you see that black liquid dense energy. And you're seeing the black root just wrapping around that area, inside and out. As that is seen, we're going to do the apologetic affirmation next. So again, for those of you who are regulars, who are pretty much here every week, you pretty much know the routine by now. But this is for the new people who are tuning into this for the first time. Okay, so you can repeat after me. Again, your hands upon the center of your chest where the black ball is. Take a deep breath in. I apologize to my body for being neglectful regarding this condition or these conditions. I ask for my body's forgiveness as well as its assistance to clear away these conditions, releasing them to spirit to be purified and to be forgiven in totality. And so it is. Okay? So again, after you do that sincere affirmation, body is very happy with you. Now it's happy to relinquish a lot of that debris within itself. Okay, and this is where we start collecting all of that black liquid dense energy. So you're going to see that black liquid run through the roots and connecting direct and storing itself directly into the black ball. Okay, so let's take a minute now to do that, feeling all these areas that again have pockets of the black liquid dense energy, and just funneling them through the roots and placing them directly into the black ball. Okay, and now that you have done that, the next step is that as we have all of that black liquid dense energy in the black ball contained, we're now going to bring in positive reinforcement energy, right? So the black ball technique, white ball technique, is just another variation of the BCR technique. Okay, that's what we're doing. So we're again we're gathering all of that dense energy within the black ball in the center of our chest, and now we're going to stimulate ourselves with the opposite of what that black liquid dense energy represents. So what's the opposite of misery? What's the opposite of suffering? What's the opposite of conflict? What's the opposite of fear? What's the opposite of lack? What's the opposite of stagnancy? Okay, we're looking into love. We're looking into happiness. We're looking into joy. We're looking into bliss. We're looking into compassion. We're looking into forgiveness. We're looking into elation. We're looking into all of these positive things that, again, we're focusing on through the mind right now. So with your eyes closed, okay, go into your mind and think of the happiest thing, right? It could be a dream. It could be a vision. It could be something that's happened into your life. It's something that you discover within your memory. And you're just building it up. It's something that just makes you feel really, really excited. If I could do anything I wanted to do right now, what would it be, no matter how outrageous? As long as it brings that smile to your face, right? I'm not talking it has to be an ear-to-ear smile, but just a nice, compassionate smile that you're feeling, right? And again, you feel that love energy, very, very strong. And as you feel that within your mind, I want you to imagine you're just taking that pure love energy and you're putting it into a bubble. Okay, a bubble that just kind of looks like a soap bubble. Okay, as you do that, you're taking that bubble and you're putting it into the black ball. All right, and as it goes into the black ball, it pops. As it pops, that white liquid is now starting to mix together with the black liquid, right? You're basically doing what's known as like the temperance card in the tarot, right? You're creating alchemy, you're creating synthesis. And so we continue to do that. Now we have a second vision, now we have a third vision, now we have a fourth vision, representing these really, really strong love energy bubbles that we're creating. Okay, so we're putting all of that love energy, that positive reinforcement into the bubble, something that makes us feel really good, putting it into the black ball. As soon as it goes inside the black ball, pops. Okay, and another one goes into the black ball, pops. Okay, so as you do that, you're noticing that you're putting a lot more potency relating to love energy, and there is an alchemical mix going on. There's a transmutation taking place. All of that black liquid energy is now turning into white liquid energy. Okay, so just continue to feel that, right? Maybe I can imagine I'm soaring through the air, I'm flying above the earth, I'm looking at everything below me, and it's a beautiful sight. I'm putting myself there. I'm in that moment. It's completely vivid and real to me. That's wonderful, right? It's going to make you smile. It's going to make you feel great. So good. Put that into the bubble. Put that into the ball. Pop the bubble. Let that white light come in. Okay, and we're doing that more and more and more until that ball is completely white. Now that ball is filled with white liquid. We're now going to see white roots coming out of the white ball and just connecting to the areas that were gathered previously that once had black liquid in it. Okay, so we're putting the roots into those areas again, or an area. And what I want you to do is just thinking of that, all that love energy that you put into the ball, and take a deep breath in. And as you exhale very slowly, feel all of that white liquid leaving the ball and just traveling through the roots and going directly into that area of the body. And all I want you to do is I just want you to tap it in to the areas of the body. Okay, you can either tap it in or you can massage it in clockwise. Okay, but for my preference here, just tapping it into the body. Okay, so if we have certain areas in the back of the neck, the headache, right, the forehead, we're just tapping it in. We're tapping under the armpit here, the rib cage, wherever those areas of discrepancy were previously. We're just tapping into the area. All right. As we do that, we'll take another deep breath in, deep breath out. And that's it. That's all you have to do, is you're just leading the breath, making sure that the white liquid from the ball is completely emptied and traveling through these roots, and you're just tapping or massaging them into the areas of the body. After you're done, give yourself a blessing, give spirit a blessing. Thank you very much. Thank your body for, again, its full cooperation working together with you. And that is the healing. Okay, that's the black ball, white ball technique, transmutation edition. All right, so continue to work with this every single day, everybody. No matter what's going on inside the world, no matter what's happening through current events, this is the most important thing, is that you're taking care of yourself. You're making your physical body healthy. You're making your emotional and your mental bodies healthy. Okay, I cannot emphasize how important this is to do every single day. Okay, that goes for you guys on the chat. I know you guys are really, really eager to ask myself and Adronis questions, and that's great because I'm happy to share some insight with you. Please remember to do these as well too. This is more important than your questions. Okay, so just a reminder for everybody, work with these techniques. They're very simple. They're very rewarding. You're going to feel amazing. Oh my God, who would want to feel that? Who wants to feel amazing? Who wants to feel loving? Who wants to feel blissful? Oh, it's the most beautiful thing. So make sure you're doing it. Okay. All right, guys. So now we will go to Q&A. Thank you, everybody, for joining me alongside the chakra clearing and black ball, white ball. All right. So I'm going to start off from the top of the chat. So again, if you guys do have priority questions, you can use the contribution through the YouTube super chat. Okay. And I'll get to your question first and foremost. All right. So going down the list here, a lot of people here today from Texas, from Sweden, from Chicago, from Ireland, from Windsor, Ontario, from Mexico, London, Oregon, San Francisco, Alaska. Great. I love how you guys just announce, hey, it's me from this place. That's great. That's great. I'm glad to see just people from all over the world tuning into this. Okay. Audio sounds good today. Great. Glad to hear it. Okay. Okay, here's a nice question here from Leo Jags for Adronis or myself. In addition to the BCR technique, how can we cultivate enormous amounts of love? How do the higher density beings like Adronis cultivate love? Well, they live in love all the time. Adronis has talked about this. He lives in a realm where there is love. There is just, when you're in that higher state, you're in those higher vibrations, you're in those higher dimensions, you're living in bliss realities. The best way to put it is that if we can imagine the most incredible, exciting thing to be done here in the physical world, that would be considered to be the most least exciting thing for them to do in their reality, in their world, right? So for him to move beyond that, again, it's not just something that you're born into. Adronis went through all these stages to get exactly to where he is, to basically where he has become, you could say, an eternal being. He does not really age in that way. From what he has talked about in the past is that he did once have a physical body, but he transcended physical form. And this is why he's one with the starlight. I'm going to say the starlight because there's no light in the stars, but basically connecting with the etheric energy. I would say the etheric light because that's more appropriate. the etheric light of Sirius A, right? So that is where he exists, and he is basically an eternal being, right? That is where he exists. That is where he continues to share this information through me as a channel. Because again, I've connected to him when he was in 5th density state, 6th density state, and now 7th density state. But he says even the densities or dimensions don't really matter, because he's able just to go anywhere, to go up into any dimension of his choosing. He can even come down here if he wanted to, but he doesn't really prefer to do that because it is a very, very dense energy. But he has shown himself again through people as projections, right? He's shown himself through me as projections a couple of times. It's not a lot. Every time I channel Adronis, I would say almost every time, I don't really get a glimpse of him, right? It's kind of like tuning into a radio dial, and then I connect to, quote unquote, his station, and then he comes through, and then he shares his broadcast. So it's kind of like me just functioning as a radio, right? And just tuning into his station and then getting his information. Majority of the time, I'd say about 95% of the time, that's how he comes through. 5% of the time, I have seen visions of him. I've seen images of him. He's always this tall, blonde-haired, Nordic-looking being, okay? Because that represents his physical body when he had it. From what he was talking about, that he was once existing in what we would term as the 4th density, and then working his way up into different dimensions. You basically become an eternal being. As an eternal being, you can just sift through the different dimensions. So again, it's kind of similar to like what the yogis have been doing, what the ancient masters, the sages have been doing on this planet, where they basically come into a resurrected body or an eternal body form. And they can basically just go through all the different planes. They can go through the astral plane. They can go through the causal planes. They can go through the light planes, all of these different planes, simply through the intention of thought, okay? When Adronis connects with me, there's the Merkaba, right? There's the light body vessel that he utilizes. Now, it's not a spaceship in any particular way. It's just being able to see his energy body moving in the form of a rotation of a Merkaba, because we all have that, right? When we're actually able to dimensionally travel and go through meditation and travel to these different dimensions, we're using our Merkaba vessel, right? And so you basically have the star tetrahedron moving in different at different speeds in different rotations for you to actually travel to these different dimensions. It's kind of like the accumulation of thought. So where Adronis is, there's bliss where he is. I'll bring him in shortly, and he can talk a bit more about it. But that's really where he resides. He's talked about this quite a bit through sessions and so forth, private sessions and past group sessions as well too. So again, your question is, how can we accumulate enormous amounts of love? Well, again, the BCR technique is just one example, guys. It's not the only example, right? Some people may want to work with Reiki healing. Some people may want to work with NLP. Some people may want to work with hypnosis. So, there's a lot of different techniques that you can try. It's not so much about the techniques. It's about you being committed to the essence of what you want to bring in to yourself. So again, just like we did with the black ball, white ball technique, right? Where you're accumulating all of that love energy just by thinking of it, okay? Your thought is, again, putting all of this love energy into this bubble, putting it into the black ball to turn it white. And now you're using that to rejuvenate the area of the body. That's just one way out of countless ways, okay? The BCR technique is really just showing you guys how simple this is. It's not the only technique that can do it. There's another fellow by the name of Lester Levinson who was able to create something called the release technique, okay? And the BCR technique has similarities to that, okay? You can look up Lester Levinson on YouTube, okay? I was aware of him a couple of years ago, and his information is quite great. He was basically following a lot of Sri Ramana Maharshi's teachings and created what's known as the release technique, okay? And that's really, really simple, right? It really just comes down to kind of a self-inquiry where you're basically looking at something that you're troubled by and you're just saying, could you let it go? Yeah. Would you? Yeah. When? Now. Great. Do it. That's the kind of sum up of the release technique, okay? That's another example of a technique, okay? And you're just lessening that pain, right? If there's something, you're really PO'd at somebody, you're really angry at somebody, you're really upset at somebody, right? And you just feel this big ball of rage here. You're using something, again, like the release technique. Could you let this go? Yes, I can let it go. Okay, would you? Yes. When? Now. Okay. Now you see that ball starting to shrink. And you repeat, and you repeat, and you repeat. It's the same thing with the BCR technique, right? You're filling yourself with all this love energy. And now you're using the TC technique, to shrink the ball, right? The TC technique, the trigger clearing. We're again seeing how powerful our love energy is. This is where there's a bit of a difference. In the BCR TC technique, you're actually seeing how much love energy you have. And then you're putting that love energy towards the conflict. And you're seeing it dissolve. You're seeing it strip away. It's kind of like what Adronis was saying last week, is you're putting a vortex around it, and you're seeing it move from solid state to liquid state to vapor into energy, okay? And that's what you're doing. You put a vortex around it, right? And BCR TC technique allows you to vortex that energy and bring it into complete and total energy, all right? So keep working with that, guys. There are 1,000,001 ways to cultivate love energy. The important thing is that you're cultivating it. You're doing it on a daily basis. As I've said, it's more important than any of the questions that you asked today, okay? Really take good care of yourself. You're the only one here. Nobody else is going to do it for you, okay? Laura says the cards really work. The healing code cards, great. I'm glad they're working well. Like I said, guys, you can check out lots of testimonials on Amazon and on healingcodecards.com. These are real testimonials, right? People are coming to me all the time and saying, Brad, these cards are amazing. I love them. They work great. Well, of course, because spirit's in them, right? It's not me. It's not me in the cards. It's spirit energy that's in there. And they're all specifically programmed. I'm just being the commander. Spirit's in there, and you can do incredible work with those cards, right? It's like I said, it's the most successful product I've ever created. And I'm very, very happy with it. I love it very, very much. And there's more to come, right? The Body Deck Special Edition is going to be coming here. Actually, I'm going to be making an announcement about that this Sunday through the newsletter, okay? And another special announcement to come on YouTube about the Body Deck Special Edition pre-order campaign, okay? That's going to be happening June 1st. So more information for that to come. Okay. So Gab asks here, Gab Mick, question, why are we capable of evil? Is it the school to learn and understand? Yes, exactly. You come to Earth because Earth is a contrasting school of extremes, really, right? You can go very often to the extremes of light and happiness and joy and elation and excitement, or you can go in the other way, where there's just complete and total misery, there's manipulation, there's greed, there's sadism, there's all of that. This is a school to teaching you the contrast of reality, everything, right, relating to the entire spectrum. So we as human beings are those kind of contrast makers. We're all about contrast. This is why, again, we're so close to God, because we have this contrast within ourselves where we can go up and down the spectrum and we can shift here. 1 minute we can be super happy. Next minute we can be super miserable. Next minute we'll be super happy again, right? And we'll go in between everything else. And again, from what Adronis has shared many times, not just through him, but through the representatives through him as well too, they have always been amazed about how quickly humanity is able to shift themselves. Like here. 1 minute they're down the dump, next thing they can be riding high. Next moment they're riding high, they fall back down in the dumps again. They're still complexed about how we're able to do this. They don't understand how we're able to do this. Because again, a lot of the races that exist beyond the Earth aren't built like that, right? They have certain spectrums within themselves, but they can't just go from one end of the spectrum all the way to the other one so quickly, right? They're also amazed that we're able to pull things out of thin air and create the way that we do. They don't do that, right? It takes them a very, very long time in regards to states of spiritual evolution to get to that level. And again, here's a big thing. I'm not too sure if I've shared this before, but in case I haven't, I'll share it again. You really have to be a very highly advanced, developed being to even incarnate on Earth, okay? That's what it requires. It's not just some, person who's not really getting along, who basically has a lot of darkness within them to basically come and incarnate here, right? This is all part of an advanced soul school in that way. You really have to be advanced. And of course, there are those souls who have fallen from grace, who have fallen and have gone into a lot of the darkness. That's why we have the dark cults and stuff like that. But in times before that, they were very, very enlightened beings. They were very enlightened, they were very powerful, very loving, filled with love. And they basically fell from grace, right? Because they got into coercion. Because that's the nature of the Earth school here, is that it is all about contrast. It is all about looking into these different polarities of ourselves. And one who really graduates from this realized that they are able to transcend all degrees of extremes, to go past all of those polarities, to realize that they are God and God is them. One, all one, right? So this again is just a lesson of our earliest history, is that when you really look at the human being, to even incarnate in a body like this requires a soul extremely advanced, which means every single person on this planet is a highly advanced soul. Whether they've fallen and they've hit some shadows, doesn't matter. They've come into this world a very, very bright soul, right? And that's, again, where the nature of our innocence stands from. They may fall from grace, but again, they will always come back up again, no matter what they do. And that goes for everybody, right? So if you're a human being here, you're a super advanced soul, you're a bright shining star, and you have done so much through yourself. Again, you may have hit your rock bottom points here and there. That's the type of level this school is. Earth is the most advanced school there is in all the universe. So again, we got our work cut out for us. But nonetheless, we call it evil, we call it good, etc. Those are polarities. But yes, they're part of the spectrum. But we're here to learn all these things. Again, the greatest way for you to learn what not to do is to experience it. And then when you experience that which you know you're not to do, you learn from it. You advance past it. It's like a junkie. It's like an addict who's getting off a drug. They've been on the drug for the longest time. Now they suddenly click and they realize what that drug's been doing to them. And now they shift, right? A lot of the white hat alliances that we have right now that are basically butting heads full force with these old dark cult members in that way. These people were just as sadistic as a lot of the people that you find in the dark forces and the shadow forces and the dark cults, etc. And they were able to see the light, right? So they were realizing that this was all wrong. They had a click realization, and now they start to work together in higher numbers to basically combat these old dark forces. And by the way, guys, we are prevailing by leaps and bounds. I'll be talking about that this Sunday on my newsletter, okay? So I don't really talk about it too much on YouTube because there is censorship, but I will be mentioning this Sunday in the newsletter, okay? Talking a little bit more about this, okay? We are prevailing, and we're prevailing by leaps and bounds, all right? Okay, and again, they're not really predictions, like I said. They're just shared perspectives, shared visions. Like I said, I don't really deal with the predictions anymore, but I just see it as, take it as something that you can either take or leave. Okay, let me go down the list here a bit more. Okay. And says here, and other you, Adronis, we entered the age of the sixth sun on May 26. Can you say something about what this means and new energies coming in? Okay, so let me go ahead and take a moment to bring Adronis in, and he can share some insight from and other yous. I love your guys' names, it's great. And other yous, question here about the sixth sun, May 26. What does this mean, and what are the new energies coming in? Okay, so let me bring Adronis in here. Terra Soul Star Sirius Adronis. We are here at this time. We bid you greetings and thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. We say hello to all of you who are tuning into this broadcast through your internet collective consciousness. We understand that another you has a question for us relating to this large shift that took place upon the date of your May 26, and that it represents the scale of a sixth sun and representing the idea of a greater meaning, a greater energetic coming upon your planet. Well, again, you've already discovered what this means. Do you not know what your sixth sun translation represents? It's an unfolding time. It's an expansion time. It is a tilting of a time. And we mean that in more ways than one, but it's something that you have to look into a little bit more. It is a tilting time. And therefore, as it is a tilting time, you are seeing a great transformation again, unfolding through each and every one of yourselves because you are the personal stargates to this effect. It's not so much about what's happening on the planet. Yes, the planet is going through shifts, but there is, shall we say, a great shift happening within each and every single one of you inside your hearts. So again, as you look at yourself as a stargate and you see all of this light coming out of you, even if you're not conscious of it, this is the whole idea. That the energy that's flowing through you as a stargate is therefore magnetizing to the entire planetary grid. That the planet is going through her own shifts as well too, and that there are solar changes, solar activities taking place as well, that is adding to that effect. So it is a time of unfoldment. It is a time of expansion. It is a time where there is, in that sense, a greater stepping up relating to the revealing and realization of what has been taken place through many of these artificial systems upon your planet. Again, it is not just the idea of a greater awakening, but a greater realization that is taking place. So the idea in that sense is that think of a face that has many eyes all around it. There are no blind spots. And this is very much the idea of this unfoldment, this expansion, this realization that's coming through. You're going to see everything coming out into the open. That is the ripe time that is happening right now relating to this effect. All right? So look a little bit more deeper through yourselves, through clean hearts, about what we mean by a tilt. All right? We will also add, in addition, in regards to what Brad has shared relating to ourselves, is that we have shared that, yes, we are able to go into any particular dimension we choose. So whether you refer to it again as different dimensions, different densities in that way, we exist in that form. We exist, again, as part of the etheric essence relating to that of Sirius A. We shall always be. The idea of death to us no longer exists. Again, there will come a point where we will speak more in regards to, as we would term, our ancient past, our ancient history, about how we were able to reach an ascension state and therefore move past the idea of confinement relating to space, time, karma, and all of those particular principles that exist within those facets, for we are beyond them. And as we have stated, they work for us. We don't work for them. All right? We thank you very much. Okay, very good. Thank you very much, and other you, for that question. Here's one from Mira. Mira, thank you for your contribution. Financial question for Adronis. What type of investments to do at this time on Earth? You're really asking the wrong kind of being for that. Adronis doesn't play with your finances, okay? But since you ask, he can look into certain things and help you with that. But financial matters, usually best for financial intuitives. Not always been my strong point, but like I said, Adronis can provide some insight with you. Okay, one moment. We thank you very much, Mira, for your question. As you are quite curious in regards to the nature of financial investment, here's a secret for each and every single one of you. You have the ability to empower a particular type of investment that you are fully behind from the heart. So what that means in that sense is if you discover that there may be a company or a product in that sense that you feel you would like to invest in because you believe in it quite strongly, we would suggest that you meditate upon that product and utilizing a degree similar to the 5-minute focus meditation, you are seeing that product skyrocket. You're seeing it going up. And you're reacting just the same when you're actually seeing that go up. When you really have that strength of emotional connection behind that feeling, this is what's going to lead to that synchronicity of such a product rising. Because it is a genuine feeling to you. It's not just some random thing. It's not just some random interest that you have. It's something that you come across. It's something that you really feel like you want to commit some investment towards because you feel it is right to do so. And now you are putting that energy. And you're seeing, again, as if that graph is skyrocketing. And you're putting your emotions fully behind that to see that and now therefore see an effect come about. This is Manifestation 101. So that is what we recommend first and foremost for those of you who do wish to invest yourselves. All right. Now, if you're looking into the idea of something that is a high principle right now, you are noticing that there are certain levels of cryptocurrencies that you may want to look into. All right. So again, you can research this idea. You may look into what you would term as Ethereum, for example, or Litecoin, for example, or other particular examples. Again, those are not the only ones, but there are several others. You may also want to look into the idea of your mineral ores, such as silver, as well, too. For that, too, is having a heightening process. But as we stated, first and foremost, get behind something that you feel a very strong connection with and skyrocket it through your power of manifestation. All right? We thank you. Okay. Thank you, Mira. Hope that answers your question. We'll move on. Okay. All right, let me just go back here one moment. Okay. I just kind of lost my spot here, guys, so I'm just kind of flowing back here. Okay, got another contribution question here from Edgar. Brad Adronis, what is your perspective of Sanaga? It's a plant medicine eye drop, and what are its effects? Thank you. Okay, I have not actually personally heard of that before. So let me see if some information can come through Adronis about Sanaga plant medicine eye drop. Okay, one moment. We thank you very much, Sanaga. We would say that the idea of the plant medicine that you refer to in that sense is a type of purifier. It is something that actually can help to reset the cells in certain ways. Now, this has been known in that sense to actually assist in regards to the clearing away of cataracts, glaucoma, or any other forms of eye conditions. It actually works much more directly and on a very strong cleansing level pertaining to the cells within the eyes, but it can also be used in regards to certain oral senses. It can also be used topically, although again used in certain forms of different preparations. But again, through the idea of somewhat of a diluted degree, it can be utilized effectively as a light tonic in regards to the increasing in integrity pertaining to the eyes, eliminating certain eye conditions aforementioned. All right? We thank you. Okay. Thank you, Edgar. Hope that makes sense to you. And let's go ahead and move on. Okay. Okay, here's one from Thanasis Delio. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. They ask, greetings, Brad and Adronis, and thank you. I still have some questions. Number one, will it be safe to go outside during the 3 days of darkness without the magnetic sphere protection blocking cosmic radiation? Well, this goes back into what much of the Native Americans, the Maya, have also stated, because again, their ancestors have been through this. They say it's really a good time to be indoors. That's just simply how it is. Now, again, guys, we have like 16, 17 years to prepare for this time. It's no more different than when we're witnessing a solar eclipse, right? If you're basically on the path of the solar eclipse, it's good that you just basically make that an indoor day, right? If you do go outside, okay, that's up to you. But again, you will basically be exposed to a lot of the energy pertaining to the eclipse. And the eclipse is like a great cleanser. It's a powerful cleanser. And some people do volunteer to go outside because this is actually helping them to go through great states of cleansing, right? To basically go through kind of a greater state of inner exposure within themselves. So it's a judgment call, right? But just from the words, this is not me speaking, this is basically from the indigenous, is that they have always suggested just to remain indoors, right? To basically remain inside and just let this time pass, all right? That's relating to the 3 days of darkness. This is what they've also talked about with solar eclipse. It's a very, very sacred time on the planet, right? They see this as a very sacred time, a great cleansing time, a great purification time. Like I said, it's no more different than if you guys are familiar with doing dark room meditations, okay? Then you understand exactly what's going on. Now, again, because the idea of the magnetic field is depolarized and we do not have that sonoluminescent effect in there happening at that particular time, as I've stated, the Earth has her own internal systems, okay? So there will still be certain forms of temperature conditions, right? It's kind of like just having nighttime that lasts 3 days, right? So you may have lower conditions. But again, under 3 days, everything comes back to the way it was. But it is a 3-day cleansing period. In a dark room meditation, when you're in the dark room, some people hallucinate a lot. All right, so they can go into hallucinations, they can see visions, and so forth, right? Because it's a great purifier. It's like being back in the mother's womb once again. So through a dark room meditation, through the 3 days of darkness, it's like you're being back in the womb again for 3 days. And again, you may start to hallucinate. You may start to see visions. You may actually start to see apparitions around you. It depends upon the person. Some people, again, may decide to venture outside. Some people may actually feel like they're going stir crazy. Okay, it's a mixed bag of a lot of things that are happening, right? So will it be safe? You can go outside. There will be air and everything. Yes, of course you can. But it probably would not be a recommendation. It would be a time for you to go within. And I cannot convince you guys what to do, okay? You guys may want to go ahead and fart around and run outside naked, screaming at the top of your lungs, and go ahead and do that, right? That's up to you. I'm not here to tell you what you guys can and can't do. I'm only here just giving you ideas about, the people and their ancestors who have been through this before and what they suggest, okay? You may want to throw a big, gigantic bonfire party out in the 3 days of darkness, and go for it. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. What will I be doing during that time? Probably just staying inside, staying indoors. I don't know. I got 16, 17 years to plan for this thing, so I'm not really too concerned about it right now. I'm not afraid of it at all either. So again, it's just all part of a natural process that has come through, that has come to pass. So like I said, it's just something that you guys have to make a decision on. But again, I would suggest just looking into the Native Americans, the indigenous culture who have talked about this, because you can find that on the internet, right? And just make up your own mind about it. So yes, it's not going to be the idea that anything's going to be poisoned or anything like that. When I've done a personal reading on this is a blessed time, though people are not going to see it as a blessed time. People are going to think of it as some sort of doomsday or fear propaganda associated with it, but that's not its intended purpose. It's a cleansing time. It's a rebirth. It's like the idea of the caterpillar going into the cocoon and then emerging a butterfly, right? So I do not see it as a harsh event in any particular way. It's a beautiful event, and I'm treating it as such. You guys are your own people. You have to decide how you wish to treat it, all right? So thank you for your question. Okay, I have another donation here from Rita. Rita, thank you very much. Blessings. Thank you very, very, very much. Okay, let me go down the list here a bit more. I'm just looking for people who have not asked a question yet, okay? Okay, here's an interesting one here from Aqua Sendra. Okay. Aqua says, Adronis, is there any difference between realities and imagination? When we imagine, are we looking at other realities literally, or is it something different? Okay. One moment. I'll bring Adronis in. We thank you very much, Aqua, for your question. So here's a question for you. What is reality? Can you answer that? What is reality? Any of you, can you answer that? What is reality? Is it representing that of experience? Is it representing just that of the physical realm here? When you're looking at the idea of what you consider to be real, you are therefore defining it as such. And that's the idea. Anything you define as that which is real, as that which you feel you can experience, as that which you observe, as that which you witness, becomes reality. You see, that's all it is. So who is it that told you that anything that really just happens here in the physical plane is all that is? One who does not understand other planes of reality because they don't see it. They are blinded by ignorance. The idea in regards to what you relate to as imagination is simply termed that and is often looked down in your culture and saying, oh, they just have a wild imagination. They have a fantasy-prone imagination. And therefore you dismiss that idea because in your modern cultures, you consider imagination just to be a fantasy device and nothing else. But therefore it entails thoughts. It entails feelings and emotions. So you could therefore go into your imagination and think of something that is very, very emotionally impactful for you. Do you react to it? Of course you do. But it's in your imagination. But that doesn't matter, Adronis. I connected to it personally. I had an emotional response to what I was thinking. I had an emotional response to what I was imagining. Exactly. Doesn't that constitute the real? Doesn't that constitute reality? You see? Again, many of you are under this impression that if it doesn't happen in this dimension, it doesn't exist. What have we told you many, many times about the nature of this dimension? It is only a very tiny fragment of what actually exists. You are not even seeing the vast majority of what actually exists in this type of plane. It is the solid plane. It is the dense plane. It is a physical plane. It is a material plane. It is the most dense plane there is. And you are only seeing less than 0.1% of reality as it exists here in this template. And many of you become addicted to this template because, again, you subscribe to the idea of ignorance, feeling that if it doesn't exist in this limited, confining, solid, dense plane, then it must not be. But you're missing the grander picture on so many different degrees that you can't even begin to imagine. So imagination is helping you to break free of these veils, because you have put and you have shrouded yourself with these veils all around you, feeling that it needs to happen in this physical reality, otherwise I won't believe it. That is a statement of pure ignorance. Simply because all you're willing to believe is the veil that you have wrapped yourself around. It's like wrapping a blanket all around you, 360 degrees, covering you from head to toe, and saying, if it's not in my blanket, I don't believe it. And you're missing the entire world that has surrounded you. But it's not in my blanket, Adronis, because I've completely wrapped myself around 360 degrees, from the top of the head to the bottom of my feet, in this blanket, and if it's not in the blanket, I don't believe it. What would you say to such a person? They are missing the entire world, because they have basically suffocated themselves inside this blanket, where all they see is the darkness of the blanket and nothing else. They have veiled themselves. So we would suggest that you continue to work with the power of your thoughts, the power of your feelings, the power of your emotions, but most importantly, the power of love, because that opens up all the veils. That helps you to understand that your thoughts are far more greater than you give credit for, that your emotions are far more greater than you give credit for. It's the idea that when you go into meditation, when you go into stillness, and you are at one with that stillness, when you think a thought, you feel its effect. You feel what it does to you. You feel that that thought is bestowing a reality before your very eyes. That when you look at a feeling, when you're in that stillness, you see its effect. You see its essence. You see the true strength it has. That, again, is one of the ideas of what meditation is attempting to teach you, is to understand the nature of your thoughts, of your feelings, and the strength that they have. So in that sense, by you just wrapping yourself around this blanket and thinking this is all there is, you are, again, blinding yourself to the greatness, to what all of creation has to present to you. You have to understand you're gods in training. We've talked about this many times, that you are gods in training, but many of you only agree to see yourself as human beings. Why do you do that? Because you are allowing yourself to fall into trance. You are going into trance hypnotic programs that are telling you, all I am is a flesh body, a human body here, and I'm so little, and I'm so weak, and I'm so fragile. You have succumbed to an illusion. You have not succumbed to the truth. And it's up to you to discover that truth within. All right? We thank you. Okay. Thank you very much, Aqua, for your question once again. So moving on here. Okay, going down the list. Okay, let me just go down a bit more. Someone just asked what changes are coming in June and July. You can tune into my newsletter for that. Okay, I'm going to be sharing just some perspectives, right? They're not predictions. They're just shared perspectives. You can tune into the newsletter for that, okay? Okay, one from co-creator Marsha here. After the Great Awakening or Solar Flash, are jobs or career as important? Well, again, as I stated, if you guys have watched The True Nature of the Sun, you have my perspective about a solar flash, okay? Jobs and career are important? Well, there will just be changes. There will be different changes to that, okay? What about shelter and money? Well, again, that will go through changes as well too, right? If you basically have a situation unfolding where the corrupt really do not have their claws into a lot of these old systems anymore, you're going to see new systems. So again, there are people that are talking about prosperity funding, right? There's people in that sense that are talking about families getting certain forms of prosperity funding taking place. Okay, there's a lot of ideas here. But basically, where we're going to end up in the larger look of things, in the long term of things, is that shelter, food, clothing, all of that will become natural human rights. Okay, that is, again, moving into the earth that we're going to be a part of. Right now, we're going through a transitional phase. We're still playing with finances. We're still playing with monetary systems. We're still playing with governance in this particular way. And that's still going to play itself out for at least a few more years. But when we look into the long term, yeah, you're not really going to have money on the planet, right? You're going to basically have, contributionism. You're going to have barter and trade. You're going to have these different things. But the idea of people starving will not be a thing anymore, right? The idea of the earth being heavily polluted will not be a thing anymore. There's going to be a lot of actions that's going to counteract all these things. Guys, we have no idea about how good things are about to get, okay? So many of us are focused on the darkness, and that is unhealthy, okay? Many of you focus on the darkness because you're scared, because you're afraid. And the reason why many of you are afraid is because you're afraid to welcome in change, okay? And you don't think things are going to change. You think, oh, they're just an old order and they're going to continue to rule things and blah, blah, blah. And that's where you put your energy. And you're immediately supporting something you don't want to support, right? And you create a drawback for yourself. Because again, if a person feels that, they're giving so much power to these very things that they despise, well, then they're still going to make that a part of your life. You're not doing yourself or anybody any favors by thinking in that way, right? You are dooming yourself. You are destroying yourself because you constantly see doom and you constantly see destruction. And you're not willing to see anything else because you're a drug addict to fear porn. You're a drug addict to dark things. You're a drug addict to dark cults. You're a dark addict to say, oh, there needs to be a savior coming along and all that stuff. Guys, it's just a bunch of crap, right? You're the one that makes things happen. You're the one that makes the greater changes unfold. Yes, there are people here doing certain things and representing certain reflections in that way. But again, for your own liberation, for your own salvation, you want to get onto the level that benefits you, that supports you, that helps you, okay? If we're looking so much into the idea of, oh, this is what they're going to do to us and this is how it's going to go down and things are never going to change and it's never going to happen, well, then you've doomed yourself. And you have no one to blame but yourself by doing that, okay? It's not about other people that are telling you what you can and you can't do, okay? You have to understand the power that you have as a creator, right? So again, in the times ahead, things are going to be looking a lot more brighter, right? We're looking into a very, very beautiful time together. That's just how I see it because that's how I choose to see it, right? Because I know these things are going to come together. I can't convince any of you. I'm just a reflection of each and every single one of you. And you're all just a reflection of every single one of each and every part of me, right? So again, all I can ever do is share perspective with you. What you decide to do with your life is your choosing because you're the only one in your reality. Okay? Thank you for your question. Okay. Okay, question is there a technique or anything else to heal a burn from steam? Okay, so NM has this question here. If there's a technique or anything else to heal a burn from steam. Well, here's a technique that I have for you, but it requires a little bit of a mind discipline to help you with that. Okay, not too long ago, I actually burned my hand here when I was cooking food. I actually had like oil in the pan and it splashed up and it gave me 2nd-degree burns on my right hand here. And the thing is, I didn't even react to it. Right, there was like, okay, I saw the spill. I could see it was intense. I could feel a burning sensation. It didn't bother me. So what I did, and this is actually a technique that Paramahansa Yogananda also talks about in Autobiography of a Yogi, when he wanted to basically to go into the water that was freezing cold. And he was a little uncertain about it at first, but he says, well, wait a minute. All the code is electricity. The coldness is just electricity. And I am a creator. I am a master. I can align to all of those things, and it will not bother me at all. And so as he saw the coldness as just electricity, he was able to walk into the water and not be cold at all, right? That's, again, the same thing about what Jesus was able to do. They're all just thoughts. You're just aligning to that. And this is what I did to my hand, right? So I had like a burn up here on the index finger. I had a little bit of burn here on the middle finger. I had a big burn over here upon my hands. In fact, if you watch the New Earth Teachings episode 2, you may actually see that I actually had quite a bit of color or discoloration on my hand when I was talking, because that was from the burn, right? So what I did is I just saw it the same way. The burn is just electricity. The pain energy I'm feeling is just electricity. I'm going to harmonize it right here and right now. And so I basically just said that the energy here in my hand are one. The pain energy in my hand and here are one, and I'm bringing it to harmony. And so on the very night that I was burned, didn't feel any pain at all, right? I could feel some tension, I could feel some friction, but there was no pain energy coming through me whatsoever, because I was aligning together in harmony with the electricity relating to the pain, okay? This is the power of your mind. Now, when you meditate a lot, you know how to do this, okay? But you're just telling yourself through that convincing, there is no pain here. The pain and I are one. The energy and I are one. And it's now in harmony, right? So I align to the electricity of the sensation, and I smooth it all out. I perfect it. And that's exactly what happened. It was a 2nd-degree burn, so it was pretty intense. But I was able to completely harmonize with the pain, right? And just make it completely at peace. And then tended to the wound as I needed to. And that was that, all right? So it's a very interesting question that you had about that. So burning from steam, or again, like I said, I burned from oil, right? A 2nd-degree burn, okay? And so you want to just work with the power of the mind, okay? So yes, there's ointments and other things like that. Some people will use aloe vera gel and certain things like that. I used it a little bit just to kind of nurture my hand, but to basically eliminate the pain was all part of a product of the mind, right? To bring it into harmony. The energy of that sensation and I are one, okay? Look at it into that way. Okay, guys, we're going to take 1 or 2 more questions, and I think we're going to wrap up. This is one from Len here, just underneath. Okay, Len says, question for Adronis, why are humans said to be the most powerful beings in existence and Earth said to be God's special planet when all are equal and equally powerful in creation? Okay, well, Adronis has already talked about this quite extensively, okay? You can look at past videos with this, and I'm basically just going to sum up what Adronis has said as well, too. Yes, every being in creation is equal, okay? Their realizations are not, okay? Realizations through a being are very different and are unequal when we're looking at reality as a whole, okay? Now, again, looking at me or looking at all of you guys here, we are all equal, all right? We are all created from the same. But the thing that is different is realization, okay? And through realization, that determines our levels of experience, okay? This is why you have yogi masters in India not participating at all with the modern world, who have completely shut themselves away from that and are going to higher depths of experiences that are bringing them closer to God, okay? Now, many of us in the modern world are not doing that. We're concerned about career. We're concerned about finances. We're concerned about our homes. We're concerned about our families. We're concerned about our friends. And we're not doing that. But again, as we look into the essence of all of us, are we not all one? We certainly are. Playing things out in this type of game of incarnation, it all comes to the levels of realization. Okay? So there are people in this world that are far more realized than others. Okay? And that's the difference. So therefore it becomes the levels of experience. It becomes the levels of realization. It becomes the levels of openness. That's what makes a difference, right? If we were all basically seen as equal in every way, then pretty much every single one of us would be Jesus Christ's, right? Each and every single one of us would be Buddhas. Every single one of us would be Krishnas. Every single one of us would be sages. But that's not the case, okay? It's the experience and realization through it. It is the levels of that, okay? Now, humanity, built into us, we have a great deal of realization because we're creating all of these incredible things daily, and we just don't know that we are, right? All the things that we can construct just out of thin air, the idea to be able to sing a song out of thin air, to be able to do all these things. It's no more different than looking at how a bee is able to just go around the flowers and pollinate them and then produce honey, right? To them, that's an incredible feat. Or to us, looking at them, rather, that's an incredible feat. But again, when you look at everything the human being is capable of, we can pretty much do everything that we decide to do, not just through the idea of working with technology, but working through the power of consciousness. We have the ability to actually create droves of honeybees that are nearing extinction, and just through that idea of a thought that we empower through great levels of realization, we're able to just open this up and the honeybees now start coming back upon the planet again, where there have been low numbers of them, right? We're able to increase that just through the power of our thought, through a realized being. You see, that's what makes a difference. So humanity within ourselves, we have a lot of this great capability within ourselves, but we don't realize it, right? And it is a lot more than anybody else. Adronis means that very sincerely. He's not just saying that, quote unquote, to kiss your butts, right? He's saying that because it's the truth. Humanity was created with the greatest capability of exploring the contrast and are closest to God. This is again why the angels bowed down to man when man came upon the planet. God's angels bowed down to him, bowed down to her, right? Because that is where we belong. We are closest to God because we have the greatest capabilities of that. Like I said earlier, right? It takes a certain type of soul to come here and to incarnate as a human being. It's not just any willy-nilly, struggling with darkness type of being, okay? It requires a being that has a great level of advanced discipline with them. You cannot incarnate as a human unless you have that. So again, the filters are stepping up a lot more now as well too. So it requires, again, these beautiful enlightened beings to come here and incarnate into this body. That's where we're going, because the filters, the incarnation filters, the vibrations of it have stepped up. It's almost like looking at white light filters right now. It's even going beyond a violet gateway. It's moving more so into the white light, into like pure spirit. So again, this is letting you know about the type of children that's going to come in the times ahead. Beautiful Christ-like beings that are going to come upon this planet. So again, Christ-like beings, the Buddha nature, the Krishna spirit, etc., all realizations. Okay, it is the levels of realizations that really kind of set us apart when we're looking at those levels of experience or powerful beings or disciplined beings through the realizations that they have claimed. Okay, thank you, Lynn. Okay, so we're going to take one more question, guys, and we're going to wrap up. I'm not going to end on this question, but I'll just comment on this very, very quickly. Rohanna Wolf says, if the sun is really dark, then it doesn't mean that darkness equals evil. No, guys, where did you get the idea that darkness equals evil? That would be like saying that each time night falls, that it's an evil time. That again comes from ignorance and absurdity, right? There is a place for the night. There is a place for the dark, right? But again, we have misconstrued the nature of darkness, giving it that impression of thinking that it's evil because there is no light. No, the darkness does not have to be like that, right? We can create it into that particular type of extreme. But again, when you're looking into the nature of the night, look, like I said, when you're in the mother's womb, there's darkness all around you. So are you becoming an evil baby? Right? You go back into your mother's womb. You go back into those memories, for those of you who may remember or get it through hypnosis or whatever, and you're in that for 9 months, and there's nothing around you but darkness. So are you evil? Are you horrendous? Are you some sort of sadistic baby that's going to strangle the doctor with an umbilical cord as soon as you come out of the mother's womb? You see, again, this is the misinterpretation pertaining to the nature of darkness, is we personify it as evil. You know, why is it, again, that the darkness can represent the feminine, right? And the sun can represent the masculine. Is the feminine evil? No. Is the masculine evil? No. These are polarities. These are, again, two branches of the same tree. So again, we get under this impression and we get programmed and we get hypnotized in thinking in that way. Now, people will utilize that actual bliss of the darkness to conceal things, right? It's their concealment, because that's what they'll use it in that way. They'll turn it into a curtain. They'll turn it into a veil. And what they're doing may represent evil deeds, but it's not through the darkness that is the entirety of what it is. They're just utilizing that force and putting a veil around those things to try and conceal it. And even the darkness is telling you, hey, there's people around the curtains. Oh, great. Thank you very much, darkness. Here's a light coming in, and we'll shine a spot in there. Darkness is actually assisting and helping to bring the light in, because the light and the dark truly work with each other. All right? They're not opposed to each other. They're not butting heads, right? They represent a certain equilibrium to each other, okay? So the darkness knows that it's going to be in its own side. The light knows it's going to be in its own side. But darkness will point these things out. This is why when you look at the yin-yang, why do we have a little bit of light in the darkness? Why do we have a little bit of darkness in the light? They work together with each other. It is an eternal union, okay? Look at it in that way. Study the yin-yang. Gives you one idea there, okay? Now we'll work on one more question, and we'll get finished here. Okay. Okay, I'm just thinking of a good one here that we can end on here. Okay. Well, there's kind of a different take I want to put on this particular question that we're going to end with. It's from Natalia. What is the sound vibrational frequency to look and feeling younger? Well, it's not so much of a sound frequency, right? It's your thoughts. Okay, guys, I have demonstrated on YouTube how to look younger. Okay, this is exactly the still effect. So again, if you look back to me for a couple of years, you know, my face looked very, very puffy, a little bit fat and wide in that way. And now that you look at me now, it's looks a lot more healthy, looks a lot more well, looks a lot more younger. Okay, had nothing to do with a sound vibrational frequency. It's the idea that you're doing what's known as the 5-minute focus. Okay, you are seeing yourself as this younger version of yourself. So in this case, I was looking at my 20-year-old self. I was kind of studying, you know, how I looked in that way, and just applying that into how I look presently. And so I was able to demonstrate that through focusing for 30 days, every single day, on the youth body. Okay. Now, if I want to add a chant to that, I can certainly add a chant to it. Right? Some people may decide to go with right frequencies and see if they can find something like that in right frequencies, and if that's what you want to do, then go ahead. Right? But again, this is trumping all other things ahead of itself. Right? When you're looking at the top of the ladder here, you're looking at the empowerment of your own thought through manifestation. You're holding that thought and saying, I look young, I look healthy, I look well, I look radiant, I look beautiful, right? I am youthful. And that's what I'm doing for 5 minutes each and every day. When I was doing that 30-day, I was doing a 30-day trial, right? And I was saying that, just say, I look healthy, beautiful, young, radiant, right? Completely radiant, completely well, completely strong vitality, everything. I was putting all of that together. And I was just seeing all of those things together in the younger body template. And I just held that focus for 5 minutes. And as the couple of days went by, profound changes followed, right? just by focusing for 5 minutes on a template image of that 20-year-old version of myself and seeing all of those qualities contained within it. And I was holding that in mind. Here's an image of my picture. And all I was seeing was the picture. And it was, again, flowing through me. All these thoughts. Young, healthy, radiant, well, vitality, right? Youth body. And that is what that image represents. And so for 5 minutes, I just stared at that image. And then throughout the days, as it continued to progress, I saw that I was losing some weight. I could see that my face was changing. My skin was looking a lot more healthier. And again, I shifted in that way. I didn't have to use a sound vibrational frequency, Natalia. Okay? So this is, again, just letting you know, you guys kind of go off into something. Somebody tells you something and says, well, it needs to come through that medium. No. It just comes through the power of your thought. The power that you hold naturally within yourself, focusing on it for 5 minutes, creating an image out of it. Just create an image. Create a little picture here. Here's a picture of me, 20 years old, 18 years old, 19 years old, 21 years old. And I'm keeping that in my focus. And I meditate on that for 5 minutes. I just see that image in my mind for 5 minutes every single day. And then a couple of days pass and I start to notice the changes. It is powerful. It is wonderful. I've done it and I've shown it on my YouTube. Okay? If I can do it, you guys can do it too. Don't limit yourselves in thinking that it needs to come through this particular practice. It needs to come through only this particular type of method or this particular type of technique. All it is a thought, right? Work with the power of your thought. Focus on that thought and let that thought unravel itself and see that as yourself within reality. Okay? So give it a try. Work with the Youth Body Challenge. I talked about this previously on my YouTube. Okay? Thank you, everybody, for all of your questions today. I really appreciate it. And we will go ahead and wrap up today's New Earth TV Live. So again, I'll be back next week. And again, check in tomorrow, because tomorrow the Adronis Q&A forum event, webinar, will be up. I wouldn't say up, just the registration for it will be up on New Earth Teachings. Just look for this poster. Okay, I might even get it up tonight. We'll see how it goes. But I'm just trying to get a bunch of work done. And of course, this Sunday is, of course, the New Earth newsletter. Okay, issue number 1. So it'll be a lot of great, wonderful stuff that I'll be sharing through that as well, too. Okay, thank you, guys. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend, and I'll speak to you all next week. Take care. Thank you very much for checking out the New Earth Teachings YouTube channel. Feel free to check out my websites, newearthteachings.com, healingcodecards.com, healingcodeshop.com. Go on to healingcodecards.com to grab your body deck and your mind deck. Also available in digital versions as well. And of course, you can follow me on social media, on Facebook, on MeWe, and of course on Telegram as well. Thank you again for tuning in, and I'll speak to you again in the next video. Take care and show the way.